Now, just when it seemed safe to be flying again, another cloud of volcanic ash from Iceland is bringing flights in some parts of Europe to a halt. The Irish and British authorities have imposed flight restrictions. Journeys into and out of Ireland, Northern Ireland and some islands in Scotland have all been suspended, though the Irish aviation authorities do say they are preparing to reopen their airspace at 1200 GMT.
The volcanic ash is back. A fresh plume of gritty smoke is drifting south from the same Icelandic volcano that wreaked havoc to European air travel in April.
The eruption is absolutely going quite strongly now, and it seems to be that it's somewhat increasing the ash production. The ash cloud is heading your way.
The first area to be affected was the Outer Hebrides in Scotland. Its airspace was closed following advice from top weather experts. The Republic of Ireland has also ordered the closure of its airspace for 6 hours on Tuesday. British aviation chiefs said the shutdown would also be extended to Northern Ireland, a serious cause for concern by some airline companies.
So we'll have a fairly significant effect on the operation. We've currently started the process of protecting our aircraft through sealing them all up.
The new alert should not disrupt aircraft overflying Ireland from Britain or Europe, and no southern British airports, including Heathrow, Europe's busiest, should be affected. Last month's closure of airspace caused widespread disruption in the UK and across the continent. More than 100,000 flights to, from and within Europe are said to have been cancelled between April 15th and 21st, preventing an estimated 10 million passengers from travelling. Later today, transport ministers from around the European Union will meet in Brussels to discuss the chaos caused by the volcanic ash last month and to look for ways of avoiding a repeat, something airlines and their customers will no doubt also be hoping for. Imtiaz Tayyab, BBC News.
Right, we're going to gauge the ramifications of this latest volcanic cloud because we can go to Belfast. Our correspondent Mark Simpson's there. Then we'll go over to Brussels to speak to Dominic Hughes about the transport ministers who are meeting. But Mark, first of all, I guess, well, I could see from behind you, nothing happening.
Yeah, the picture tells its own story, and it's a case of here we go again in Belfast. This airport, like many others in the UK, ground to a complete halt last month. People thought it was a one-off, but the volcanic ash is back, it seems, up there in the skies. But the news within the last hour from Dublin that Irish airspace in the Irish Republic will reopen in 4 hours' time has given hope to airports here in Northern Ireland that the same will apply here. We'll just have to wait another couple of hours, and it's a very frustrating time for all the passengers here.
Yeah, I just wondered about the passengers, Mark. I mean, when this happens the first time, often there's a lot of readiness to accept that these things happen. When it happens a second time, people sometimes aren't quite so patient.
No, and thousands are affected. Sometimes it's a double whammy. They were affected last month and they've been affected today. I should tell you, David, the most high-profile casualty of all of this is the UK's Conservative Party leader, David Cameron. As we know, the UK general election is on Thursday. He was hoping to fly to Belfast this morning to woo some of his supporters here, but he, like many others, are stranded in London.
Oh dear, you can't beat the elements, can you? Mark, thank you very much for that. Let's go over to Brussels now. Dominic, you've got the transport ministers all gathering where you are. Nothing concentrates the mind quite like this, does it?
No, that's right. Yesterday, the Transport Commissioner, Siim Kallas, issued a statement, a press release, talking about this meeting here today. He said, we don't know when the ash cloud could strike next. It could be next month or it could be in 50 years' time. I don't think he was expecting to be the next day. But they are gathering here today for what has turned out to be a very timely meeting, and they'll be discussing a number of proposals, but principally they'll be looking at trying to create a system that gives the EU and the broader Europe as well a single air traffic control system. Trying to look at, instead of having air traffic control divided up into the 27 member states of the EU, for example, which many people felt contributed to the chaos of last month, trying to organise it on a different basis so it recognises transport flows rather than national boundaries, and that would mean putting in place one single coordinating body to overarch all the different air traffic control systems.
And do you get a sense, Dominic, that there is a sort of overriding political readiness to do that?
I think there is, because this idea has been around in one shape or another for about 2 decades, and it's had very strong backing from the airline industry, who say simply just having to deal with 27 different air traffic controls means they have to zigzag through European airspace. That costs them a lot of extra fuel, for example. And so even though it has had a lot of backing from the airline industry, it hasn't had political backing, but I think that is now changing, and people are recognising that this would have helped, certainly, in the chaos of last month.
OK, Dominic Hughes, thanks very much indeed, Dominic, there in Brussels.